having the representative from the different organizations. So before starting the webinar, I just request all of you kindly mute yourself. Whenever you want to speak, kindly unmute so that we would be able to continue our webinar without any disturbance. To start with that, I just request Mr. Gigi Mehman, CEO and ED of Sa-Dhan, for the welcome address. Over to you, Gigi.
Thank you, Sunita, and good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to this. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's event on climate change. In fact, climate change has become the flavor of the season, and it's rightfully so, because we have been seeing events which are quite unheard of, quite unseen. You have seen how the rains were there in Delhi last week, creating a havoc for the city. It was, they say that it was the highest rain over the last 85 years. Similar kind of events are happening across the country, everywhere, not only in our country, in other places. So it has become a real case of concern, and that's the reason why all of us are discussing on these issues and how we can get over or how we can adapt or mitigate the situation. In fact, if I remember this is the third or fourth event we are doing it in the last 1 month. So this is something which is really of great concern to all of us. That's the reason why we have been doing it. And one more event we have it in this week itself, that is on Friday. So why I'm saying is that the seriousness of this issue is so much that all of us are concerned, and we need to take some kind of corrective steps or some kind of a remedial steps so that we can adapt to this new situation. Today, as Sunita said, this is the event we are jointly being done by GIZ, Tata Trust, and Axiom and Sa-Dhan. We have, Caspian. And we have a representative from all these institutions. Shailendra is there from GIZ, Shailendra and Sandeep. Tata Trust, I think Ayan is there. And there. Axiom, Abhishek Gupta is there. And the Caspian, Abhishek is there. Okay. So welcome to all of you for this event, and I'm sure today's deliberations will be useful to us. Basically, we will be deliberating on the kind of products which, as a financier, what are the kind of different products available to us for supporting the climate resilient agriculture. So there are already institutions which have been financing them. We have Pahel, I am sure Pahel is present here, Purvi here, who has been a very active advocate of all these events, and they have been taking steps to support the climate resilient activities. GIZ has been supporting us, and we have been conducting programs across the country. So we will be today hearing about from different partners what kind of initiatives they are taking and what kind of support they are providing as far as bringing climate resilience to this country, and we will be hearing from them about the various products which can be considered for financing. Some of them are already doing it. Some of them maybe we'll be hearing something new from them. So with this, I welcome each one of you once again, and I hand over to Sunita for taking it forward. Thank you, and all the best for this today's event.
Thank you, Gigi sir. So before moving forward for the agenda, this is a request from the speakers itself. So we have a limited time. So I just request everyone to you, please adhere with the timeline. So I will also work as a clock for you so that while speaking, you don't forget about the timing. So the next agenda is on this contact setting. So I just request Mr. Sandeep Bhattacharya, advisor from GIZ India. So Sandeep, we are dedicating 5 minutes to you so that you would be able to share your thoughts on this. Over to you, Sandeep.
Yeah, thank you. Pratishtha, can you please share the slideshow, please? Yeah, thank you so much. And this is certainly a landmark occasion. This will be the first of its kind in India. I'm not sure whether it can be globally. Just to clarify, there has been a climate resilient bond, but no climate resilience line of credit to the extent I know. Pratishtha, is the slide coming? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Climate resilient line of credit, supporting climate resilient agriculture. In fact, if you do some Google searching and you search for financing adaptation, you'll keep on finding articles that you say that, oh, climate adaptation necessarily is government expenditure, and very little private can be done to it. And I hope this notion is shattered by this webinar. And thank you, Caspian, again for coming on to this. So this is a timeline and a chronology, and you might wonder, why is this timeline necessary at all? Then this should give you an idea of what has gone into creating the enabling environment that such products can actually come into being. That should result in better understanding of the risks involved in the lending, uh, and then risks involved in the lending, and therefore, the decision can be better right now. But before I get into the chronology, there's one thing I need to dwell upon, and that is the Lakhpati Kisan program. Now, in the spirit of this partnership, where we claim that we work like legally separate organizations, the three of us, Sa-Dhan, Sustain Plus Energy Foundation, and GIZ, we work somewhat like operationally fused. Of course, legally we are separate. So in the spirit of this partnership, I would want to say that Lakhpati Kisan is not a GIZ program, but this is my turn to brief on it. So in this, our partner, Sustain Plus Energy Foundation, worked with farmers in the central tribal belt and aimed at increasing the income of farmers from a base of rupees 30,000 per annum to around, say, 1.2 lakh to 1.5 lakh per annum. This was the objective of this program. This was carried out in the tribal, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this. This was carried out in the tribal belt and aimed at, this was carried out in the tribal belt of Jharkhand, Orissa, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. The next slide, please, Pratishtha. The program included many things, but to state in short, it was demand-led intervention and worked with a number of players in the ecosystem to irreversibly increase the income of farmers. There were many innovative approaches, including introduction of new technologies. Now, straight on to the timeline. So the Lakhpati Kisan program, which I just mentioned in the last slide, started way back in 2015. Seeing the quality of results of Lakhpati Kisan, Sustain Plus Energy Foundation was developed in 2019 to enable the installation of around 22,000 units of proven technologies. I'll emphasize the number once more, 22,000 units of the proven technologies. In 2021, an impact assessment was done for Lakhpati Kisan program, and it was found that around 40% of the household had acquired the Lakhpati Kisan in 5 years since the Lakhpati Kisan was rolled out. In June 2022, the tie-up of Sustain Plus and GIZ happened, and from August to September 2022, events where FIs were brought face-to-face with farmers and technology farmers happened all over the country. The FIs were mobilized by Sa-Dhan, and this helped the financial institutions to evaluate what the offer was. The next slide, please, Pratishtha. So, to be honest, the result took some time and plenty of follow-up from colleagues of Sa-Dhan. In February 2023, just remember we started in June 2022. In February 2023, Sampada adopted drip irrigation and started lending for the same. In October 2023, Pahal Financial Services started lending for biodigesters. In November 2023, the Lakhpati Kisan won the highest award of the world of philanthropy, namely the Ashton Award. In January 2024, Samunnati started lending for the 0.3 HP pumps. In March 2024, FWWB extended a line of credit to Sampada, and one of the items covered was drip irrigation. Also, we have been listening to FIs and their concerns, and we are not just getting products financed. so we have listening, and what we did was we talked to somebody, one of the players in the in the market, who were selling solar driven refrigerators, and they came up with a tutorial video of repair and maintenance and even installation of the solar refrigerators. And more such videos are being developed, because the FIs have shown concern about how does a startup actually get repairs done in such far flung places, which is a very valid concern. And so this is something which we are trying to replicate across all products, so that the products are reliable. And here we are today with support from Caspian, and this is what we have come to now. So this is the timeline, and I hope it helps you understand the depth of the ground testing that has been done. And we were also working with similar FIs to project. Our energy division was also working with some FIs on somewhat similar, and you will also come to know of some of the equipment which they have been doing during the course of this presentation, besides the one which we are collaborating with Sustain Plus Energy Foundation for. Thank you. Over to you, Sunita, for taking this ahead.
Thank you, Sandeep. And first of all, thank you for showing the journey in a very comprehensive manner. It will help us, our audience, to understand the progress and what kind of efforts we have made as of now, and which technologies our PMFI's partners already adopted. So about the experience, definitely we will listen from them as well, but later part of it. So thank you so much for that. And again, thank you once again for completing your comment within the time itself. So at the next agenda item, I just request Mr. Ayan Dev, our manager, Central Invest in the Sustain Plus Energy Foundation. So he will inform us or explain us about the various technology solutions, which Sandeep already mentioned that they have already tested few of the solutions. So we just want to understand from Ayan what kind of technologies they have experienced and what's their thoughts on that. So over to you, Ayan, for that. So I just request you, your time will be 10 minutes. So kindly be stick with this timeline so that we would be able to complete it within the time itself.
Sure,
Over to you, Ayan.
Yeah. So is my screen visible?
Yeah, just moving on the presentation mode is visible.
It's visible.
Okay, sir. Just a minute. Give me a second. Yeah, actually the full screen icon is not coming. Just
Okay.
Fine,
so
no issue.
yeah. So yeah, good afternoon, everybody. As Sandeep mentioned that Sustain Plus have rolled out 22,000 different solutions across 18 states within India. I mean, based on discussion with GIZ Sa-Dhan, we have actually finally compiled 8 such technology which has a potential for scaling up out of this 22,000 rollouts that we have done. And this basically is within the range of 2,000 rupees per unit to around 80,000 rupees per unit. So quickly moving on, I mean, each slide basically talks about one technology each. So the first one basically talks about portable solar pump, which is by a company called Khetworks. It's a sub-HP submersible pump, which is lightweight and portable. And this has actually rolled out across Odisha and Jharkhand. And Sustain Plus with community has installed close to 660 such units. Samunati Finance is currently facilitating credit for this. The overall cost is around 46,000. And what we have seen is the payback period for this is between 1 to 1.5 years. This is the first technology. These are lightweight and very woman friendly, a plug and play model wherein a woman member can carry it to a local small well or a rivulet and can irrigate her patch of land. on an average 60 decimal, I mean 0.6 acres to almost an acre of land gets irrigated by this pump. The next technology that we are talking about is biodigesters. I mean, these are flexible and biodigesters which are prefabricated, and this is actually, I mean, become a very intensive product across the milk belts in India. Through Sustain Plus, I mean, close to almost 10,000 such installation has happened. But this biodigester has gone beyond 10,000. I mean, on an average, the annual, I would say the market size is close to 40 to 50,000 biodigester. And these are Sustain Plus has worked in these states: Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, UP, and plus 16 more states where Systema is working. Basically, this is an alternative to fuel wood and LPG, and the slurry out of it, which is the byproduct of it, can be used as fertilizer to reduce the cost of chemical fertilizer. On an average, the saving per farmer is close to 2,000 rupees per month. The cost you are seeing over here, and the payback comes around 1.5 to 2 years. The third one is basically poultry lighting. This is basically organized poultry units of around, I would say, 500 to 600 square feet shade, which are spread across tribal belts in Jharkhand, Odisha, and in parts of Madhya Pradesh. So typically, one of the key problem in the poultry ecosystem is the poultry economics works on how quickly one can rotate the cycle, business cycle. So typically, a poultry of this particular size has 300 to 500 chicks, and the cycle is around 3 to 4 cycles annually. But I mean, if there is light being provided, the feed conversion ratio of this chicks increases, and the time duration really reduces. So what we have seen is there is an additional 2 cycles, which has 2 to 3 cycles, which increases with infusion of this 5-watt solar lighting, 5-watt solar lighting in this poultry sets. The cost is very low, around 17,000, and the payback that we have seen is roughly around 1 to 1.5 years. The fifth product that we have worked is our net houses. I mean, these net houses are small net houses which occupies a space of around 0.06 acres, which is six decimals. So this is called as greenhouse in a box, with the adherence of the standard operating procedures and other bundled agronomic services. I mean, the return from this small patch is around 80,000 annually. That is the experience which has come up, and the cost is roughly around 75,000. However, Kheti has some subsidy which is for a limited period of time of around 50,000. Thus, the community's contribution or the upfront cost is coming around roughly around 20 to 25,000. The payback period for this complete 75,000 cost is around 1 to 1.5 years. With Sustain Plus, there is 120 such installations which has happened, but there are more such which has been taken up by Kheti. The sixth one that we want to talk about is drip irrigation system, which is quite known to most of us. And this is, I mean, across the nation, but through Sustain Plus, we have basically worked across in Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. 5,000 farmers are our farmer base. On an average, 50 decimal of land is covered under drip by these farmers. Average cost per acre is around 80 to 85,000. Government of UP has recently, with the WRG group, has launched UPMI scheme, which has really subsidized the cost of drip. The payback period for this is around 2 to 3 cropping cycles. Moving on, the other technology that we want to talk about is a wheel-mounted sprayer by a company named Neo. So this is an easy to use gender neutral time saver, and this really reduces the saving time by 50% as opposed to the traditional knapsack sprayers. The total cost is mentioned over here. There are various models, and the payback is typically within 1 year. The other one is basically a hydrogel, which reduces the irrigation use by almost 20 to 30 percentage, and there is yield increase this which has been observed. The cost is quite low, which is around rupees per acre, and the payback is one crop cycle. And similarly, another one is basically animal repellent. It is basically an odor and taste-based repellent, which wards off animals locally, and thus reducing the crop damage by almost 25% to 100%. The cost is again quite low, close to 5,000 rupees per acre, and the payback is 1 year. This is, I mean, widely been rolled out in Tamil Nadu, UP, and Odisha. The last one in the list is the borewell recharge. There is a company called Urudvam. This is basically a company, I mean, wherein they survey the geohydrological survey of the location, and through a robotic arm, they drill holes in the existing borewell. And thus, this leads to 4 to 6 time increase in the water recharge within 1 to this operation is, and the geography of their operation is mostly around Maharashtra, Rajasthan, MP, and Andhra Pradesh. The cost ranges based on, I mean, the implementation, the depth of the bore, around 18,000 to 35,000, and the payback is within 1 to 1.5 years. So broadly, I mean, these are the few technologies that we quickly want to take you through. I mean, most of these technologies we have discussed in 6 of the workshops that Sa-Dhan, GIZ, and Sustain Plus has done across few of the locations. Thank you. And over to you, Sunita ji.
Thank you, Ayanji. If any of the audience have any question, I just request all of you kindly park your question in the chat box. Because every session we won't be able to take all the question, but at least one question definitely we can ask from our speakers. If anyone have, kindly raise your hand and please speak up.
A couple of questions are there in the chat box.
Let me know what would be the rate of interest for the amount they are loaning, because period has been given and a subsidy is also to be verified. And as far as the rate of interest for each column, because it has listed out about several products, may I know what would be the rate of interest for each?
So the rate of interest is dependent on the financial institution. We are not dictating what will be the rate of interest. It depends on the financial institutions as to what is the product, and each specific product will have its own rate of interest. So there's no fixed rate of interest which we can define without taking into the context which is the product, what is its payback period, what is the tenure, and what is the FIs, the particular FI which is lending, that's its cost of fund.
Anything else?
Another question that from Access Word, that any amount of subsidy involved in all these items?
Is subsidy involved in these products? And
Yes, I mean, yeah, in few of them, like as I said, Kheti has a subsidy for a limited period of time. The total cost is 75,000, but I mean, there is a subsidy of 50,000. Similarly, DRIP under UPMI scheme has a subsidy wherein 15 to 20% of the overall cost is community that community has to pay. So DRIP has a government subsidy, and I mean, the poly house has a subsidy which Kheti has bought in for a limited period of time.
I have one question rather than a submission. I see for any agriculture product, the adoption and diffusion by the farmers is the main cost, because we need to introduce the product and the demonstrations need to be done. proof of concept. The farmers need to have the confidence. Of course, many of these products are already under use. It's not that we are talking of competition, but still, if we are talking of small, because we work with small and marginal farmers. The MFI's outreach is not with big farmers, you know. So there is a cost involved in it. And since these are all commercial products, these companies, do they contribute any form of their CSR grants or contribution for setting up the demonstration projects, identifying a lead farmer out of our MFI community clients, the families who is really adopting this product, showing the impact, and then disseminating that information to the larger group, because that's where every time the situation gets stuck, that we don't have the cost for demonstration. Second is in terms of these are third-party products or by the companies, servicing of these products, you know, is a critical issue because that's linked to the repayment of the loans. If anything goes wrong and if they're not serviced on time, the EMI will stop coming in. Of course, there are risks associated with the agriculture products that has to be, farmers have to be made aware of it. Since our borrowers are women and women are not the lead farmers, generally the men are the lead farmers. So the whole mechanism has to be that our engagement has to go beyond the women and we have to engage with the farmers on this. So even the composition of the borrowers is going to change, you know. So these are some of my submissions which are more strategic in nature, which has to be taken into consideration. Any response will be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akhil, sir, for your inputs for this. So the next agenda is I just request Ms. Kritika Kumar, Energy Advisor from the GIZ India, to share your perspective here. Over to you, Kritika. I just request you please complete it within 10 minutes.
Thank you. I hope my screen is visible.
Visible.
Can you put it on the presentation mode?
Yes. Is this better now? Great. Thank you so much and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kritika. I'm working as an energy advisor with the Solar Water Pump Program. We are part of the energy cluster of GIZ. I'm based out of Delhi. And our main work is essentially to provide technical assistance to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for their flagship scheme on solar water pumps, what you may already know as PM Kusum. Along with pumps, we also have a mandate of promoting rural livelihoods through access to finance for DRE technologies. That is something that I'm going to talk about. Very quickly, DRE, essentially, we are categorizing or defining them as solar powered technologies. They're also sometimes known as productive use renewable energy technologies. And essentially, they are leveraging solar power to enable improved income generating activities. So that is essentially broadly the kind of technologies we're talking about. Today, I'm joined by our partners, Syngenta Foundation and FWWB India, and respective financial institutions whom we have been working with, who have been instrumental in our work on creating access to finance for DRE. So during the brief PPT today, I'm going to take you through some of the functional benefits of the DRE technologies we have worked with and the progress that we have made together with 3 financial institutions as far as financing and extending finance to DRE is concerned. So multiple of these technologies of what you can see on the screen are already in use. This is basically not rocket science. And but the issue here is that they are right now either run through traditional fuels such as diesel, or they are reliant on the grid. So while diesel is a fairly expensive alternate with very volatile prices, the grid also, I might add, is at times erratic, it is weak. Of course, it will be some time since we get power which will be attuned or rather okay for running these productive use appliances. So within the vast variety of DRE technologies which have recently mushroomed, our focus has been on a selected few technologies which we have carefully mapped. Then no doubt that there are multiple technologies that you may have heard about: milling machines, rice puffers, even glass blowers, looms, processors. But we have been very focused on the technologies on the basis of the function they are serving, number one. Number two, on the product market fit. And number three, the cost and the payback periods. So I'm going to soon take you through some of these technologies. Taking a closer look, we have the solar powered aerator. The function of this technology is essentially to increase or maintain the level of oxygen in ponds, lakes, and reservoirs, and is especially good for fish farmers and shrimp cultivation. Um, this image that you can see of the aerator in function has actually been taken yesterday. I'm in Assam right now, where we visited a few farmer producer organizations which are currently into fish cultivation. So with a cost of around 2.5 lakhs, where a 1 HP aerator is good enough for a 1 acre pond, we have seen an estimated payback of 2.5 years. Right now, we are exploring this ownership model in a joint ownership where the fish farmer producer organizations would be the owner of this asset. But of course, maybe with larger farmers, an individual ownership can also be looked at. Next, I'm going to talk about the milking machine, which is essentially for the milking of cows and cattle. And we have two types where, depending on the number of animals, it can be single cluster or double cluster. And at a cost of 75,000 rupees for a single cluster, this machine has been, is used by many of the dairy farmers, both in individual and joint ownership, leading to an estimated payback of 1.12 to about 2 years. As a next technology, I would quickly like to go through the solar silk reeling and spinning machine. Both of these machines are different, and what you can see on the screen is actually a reeling machine. The function that they are, basically serving, they're very compact, portable machines. Traditionally, silk reeling, as many of you may know, is done by hand, but we have some machines operating on the grid as well. So with the cost of around 20 to 35,000, depending on the amount of silk that is getting processed, we have seen an estimated payback of 3 to 9 months. And I also might add that the owners and beneficiaries, especially women in this case, have been able to see a reduction of cost in the operating cost by about 35% when compared to the grid. Next, we have a solar dryer for the hygienic drying of fruits and vegetables, mushroom, and even fish when used, in compartmentalization. With a cost of around a little over 3 lakh rupees for a 100 kg dryer. In a community ownership model, we've seen an estimated payback of 9 months. So this is essentially for a controlled environment for hygienic drying of these commodities. Also, a lot of protection from dust, excessive heat, infestation, so on. The last technology which we have a focus is a small-scale refrigeration unit, which is an off-grid cooling solution, again, for fruits and vegetables, and essentially is, an appliance which can help in farmers so that they don't have to do distress selling of their commodities. With a cost of around 1.1 lakhs, we have seen that the estimated payback period is of 12 to 15 months. What you can see on the right is actually an image again from the state of Assam, taken right as on yesterday, where one of the fish farmer producer organizations has adopted this cooling solution for storage of fish so that they can get a better price point for when they would like to sell it. I know Ayan has touched briefly on solar pumps. That is also a technology of focus. Time was limited, but essentially solar water pumps, micro pumps is also something that we have in the bouquet of technologies we talk about. And this is emerging as a very, key area, not only just for pumping out water from the ground, but also watering, dewatering, and multiple other functions that the solar pump, is able to serve as far as even the fishing community is concerned. Very quickly, I'm going to take you through what has happened till now. We have, through the support of our partners, given handholding support to financial institutions, help them develop focused financial products pertaining to these DRE technologies. And at this moment, we are in advanced stage of term sheet finalization with 3 financial institutions. all of them who are also present here. To supply these technologies, we have onboarded 5 technology providers. And over the next few months, we have estimated a business opportunity across the states that have been listed right in front of you of almost 12 crore rupees, with over 750 beneficiaries that have been identified thanks to the efforts of our partners, Syngenta Foundation and FWWB. I will take a moment and give you a sneak peek into the terms and conditions of the term sheet. We have loan ticket sizes ranging from as low as 65,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees, and a wide range of loan tenors that we are exploring as far as this product design is concerned. I completely understand, and being a banker myself, the importance of a pipeline, and I would like to reassure that the 12 crores of pipeline that has been actually scoped very thoroughly by these partners stands, and it is not only in the 4 states that we have been working on, but there is a lot of potential for replication of such models in other states as well. A couple of things very quickly, Sunita ma'am, I know I might be exceeding time, but there are relevant structures that we have developed along with the financial institutions that have led to de-risking of financial institutions when they are lending to these technologies. I know Dr. Akil Khan had raised some points on the demonstration costs and also on the servicing of products. And that is something that we have, sort of considered while creating these products. So it is both not only product innovation, but process innovation that we have worked on. We've ensured that the technology is bought back in case it is not being used, so that the end use is maintained. There is no, stoppage of repayments. We have also ensured so that the vendors have a skin in the game, and after sales services are ensured that there is a tripartite agreement that we form between the financial institution, the implementation agency, and the technology provider. And just to conclude my piece, we are happy also on a very selective basis, if time allows and if project timelines allow, to extend the support to other financial institutions who would be willing to adopt these products. So with that, I will pause here and happy to take up any questions that may come. Sunita ma'am, over to you.
Thanks, Kritika. So I just request from our audience if they have any questions so that we can ask from Kritika. So Ayan, previous to Mr. Khan query situation, so he asked about regarding what could be the precaution vendors is unable to find the services, or what kind of ecosystem at the ground is available. So could you please touch upon those points as well, because this is the main point from the all partners.
Yeah. Actually, Khan sir really highlighted on some very pressing issues. Sir, just to give you, the experiences from how we are doing. So most of the technologies that we have worked on, there is a annual maintenance contract of 5 years embedded in the cost. Then there are warranty for individual products. And since Sustain Plus as an approach is working on on an area-based saturation. So already the vendors have established their local presence either through the federations in the location, or they have put their own small units are being set up for reducing the turnaround time for the post-sale service. So this is actually what is happening currently with most of the product that we discussed. With regards to the demo part that you said, sir, what we have done in Keonjhar, just to give an example of one location wherein we have worked mostly most of these 600 small pumps that we were mentioning. So, MFIs who are interested, we are actually facilitating the technology provider to go to their location and during their field days, actually demonstrating the technology, as well as we are facilitating the cross visit wherein the community members from the FI's location are coming to the location to see and interact in detail with group of communities who are working on those pumps. So that is one thing that we are doing, and we'll be happy to do such visits, to the interested FIs. And plus, this I have to actually take permission from my seniors also. but maybe one or two demonstration models can be established in the interested FI's location also. I mean, if there is a deep interest. So this is a second point which we can also do. So just to add to the points that you shared.
Thank you. And Kritika has shown, yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'll also just come in here. Sunita ma'am, can I have 2 minutes just to answer Dr. Khan's question?
Yeah, please, Kritika.
Okay. Right. So, sir, actually, GIZ, our project is also supporting the piloting of certain technologies which have been partially financed by GIZ as well. These are limited right now to the states of Assam, Odisha, Bihar, and Jharkhand in the technologies that we have spoken about. And there is evidence that is being generated around these technologies in terms of also ownership and business models. So that is, of course, one exposure that we are happy to facilitate depending on the technology which is feasible. And with our support to FWWB, they have also been, organizing demonstration visits, especially in the regions of Assam and Orissa for the technologies in partnerships with the vendors. So this is something which is, of course, supported by GIZ, but very much, a key concern which is being addressed. So it is not something that is lying unaddressed at the moment. Sunita ma'am, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Kritika. So just moving towards our next agenda. So here we are just because from the last few speakers, we just want to understand. They explain about the various technology or the solution they have, and they have already tested that. Now it's better to listen from the horse mouth who have already implemented these technologies and what's their experience. So for that, I just request Ms. Purvi Bhavsar, co-founder and MD for the Health Financial Services, to share your experience as a climate resilience product. What's your take on it? That would be definitely helpful for our MFI partners to understand in a better way. So over to you, Purvi.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you please put up my PPT? Okay. Sunita, how much time do I have? About 10 minutes?
Yes, Purvi, you are right. 10 minutes you have.
Okay, thank you. Before, just go to the first slide. Okay, so before I talk about the products and other initiatives that we have tried implementing at PEHEL, I'll just quickly take a minute to explain or just to give a sense of why we chose to do that. So just in the slide, if you can see that the vulnerable states in India, and we are present in most of the vulnerable states, or if you look at the entire map, more than 3/4 of the country is vulnerable, whether it is on a higher side or on a modest side. Very few states which are low risk states. The kind of challenges that we are facing in India, and these challenges are only going to become severe with each passing day, is severe heat wave. We have already experienced it very recently. Cyclone, given the huge coastline that we have. Water scarcity, because India is already a water stressed country, and rapid degeneration of land, increasing carbon emission because of the use of vehicles and a lot of other things. Drought, again, we are quite prone to the drought, and it is more challenge for us as we are a country which depends on agriculture. 70% people depend on agriculture. So drought again is a big challenge for us, and the floods. Go to the next slide. I've just put up the number of districts which are major drivers. So what we can do as financial institutions to deal with this, and particularly given the fact that we are dealing with more vulnerable set of customers, and within the vulnerable set of customers also, women is more vulnerable. So we are dealing with the highest vulnerable set of customers. Three or four things very quickly that as microfinance institutions that we can do is educating or creating awareness, because we are a high human touch model. We are working at a grassroots level, and about 7.8 crore unique customers that we have, unique households that we are reaching out. Creating products that will address the climate mitigation, adaptation, and more importantly, transition related challenges, whether it is affordable housing, alternate livelihood, health, insurance, education, etc. And how we do it is by forging meaningful partnerships with public and private enterprises, whether it is fintech, edutech, agri-tech, water tech, a lot of technology companies, to make sure that we are able to support and use their technology to reach out to the last mile customer. And most important, MFIs to become more resilient to the climate event themselves, because since we are dealing with a very sensitive set of customers, we ourselves are required to be more resilient. So these are three, four things, very important for as MFIs, why we should be talking about climate and climate related initiatives. So at PEHEL, we are quite passionate about working on this and the impact that climate will have on the vulnerable communities and our customers. We started with an initiative with a company called Upash. Here, the company is into the last mile delivery of agri input products. So they have created packages depending on the size of the land. About 85% of farmers are small or marginal farmers. So they mostly hold land which is, half an acre, 1 acre, 1.5 or 2 acres. So depending on the geography and, the crop cycle, they have created packages of the entire supply, which includes seeds, pesticides, and any other support that they require. We have been funding these inputs because one of the biggest challenge for these small farmers is to get good quality of inputs. In the absence of good quality inputs, the yield is very less, the crop failure rate is very high. So go to the next slide. Here the ticket size that we are doing is about 4,000 to 25,000, and we have been, these are very small ticket size, small cycle loans. Mostly this is about 4 to 6 months, and we are making direct payment to the input suppliers. So I think this is something very unique, that the money is not going in the hands of the farmers, but money is directly being paid to the input suppliers. The input, that entire, product that they have created is being delivered at their doorstep, and this is also accompanied with a agri advisory. So they have agri advisors working with them, and they also support farmers in taking some very important decisions, and they support them during the crop cycle. So far, we have reached out to about 2,500 farmers. We have done funding of about 4.5 crore to the farmers. This pilot has really gone very well for us. Now the challenge is to scale it up, because the startups also have their own limitations. So we are trying to do API integration and, bringing this on a more robust technology platform so that we can scale it up very quickly. Next slide, please. This was piloted in one of the most backward district of Uttar Pradesh, which is Bahraich, which is at the border of Nepal. This was the 1,000 farmer is old data. We have the latest cycle. We have already almost collected 2,500 farmers, and we are now in a process of funding about 1,000 farmers in this cycle. Next slide, please. Biodigesters, this was introduced by Sa-Dhan, GIZ, and Sustain Plus in the workshop that happened in Ahmedabad. That's where we got introduced to this product, and then we have tied up with Axion and Systema. We have launched this product in October 23, and we are still working on this. Though we also realize that there are issues in terms of financial services companies' ability to sell the product. So, those initial teething problems we had, but now, we are on our way to the scale up. Next, please. Okay, we are also working on a pilot. This is also going live, hopefully this month, where we have tied up with Mithila Vegetable Union in Bihar. So Bihar has got something which is very unique, where the state government has a cooperative department under which they have a three-tier cooperative structure, which is Federation, Union, and Primary Vegetable Cooperative Society. So we have tied up with Mithila Vegetable Union, which is based out of Darbhanga, and we are trying to fund the farmers, these are essentially vegetable growing farmers, and they are having challenges with storage and selling their vegetables to get better prices. So we are trying to help them in funding for cultivation and also for veg cart procurement. In pilot, we are planning to do about 500 farmers, which are spread across 10 primary vegetable cooperative societies. And here also we are trying a very different model, where PVCS will also play a very important role in helping us deliver the credit and also in collection. So this is going to be sort of a tripartite agreement, where PVCS also will be equally involved in funding to the farmers. So this is the first time that we are trying to do, where we are trying to work at a grassroots level through the cooperative structure. Next. We have a few branches which are dedicated only to cattle funding, and this cattle funding is done with 100% insurance. And this also, as I said, very important in climate adaptation and transition, where they are highly dependent on the agriculture. So we are helping our customers also rear the cattle and also secure the cattle by taking 100% insurance. So far, we have done about 1,000 plus customers and disbursed about 17 crore plus in exclusive cattle funding secured by the insurance. And this we are doing, as I already said, we have about 4 exclusive branches which are doing only cattle funding. No other business, only cattle is happening from those branches. Next. This is again a very small pilot we had done from our CSR fund during this heat wave, tying up with Ibiza and trying to help about 250 farmers give protection against the heat wave, and particularly the ones who are dependent on cattle for their milk production. So this also is a pilot that we have recently done. We await, this is still going on and we are yet to conclude, but we have already got triggers from the as the heat wave increases. I think that was set at about 43, 44 degrees. So, the triggers have already come where customers would be eligible to claim the insurance for those many days, because the productivity of cattle will be impacted because of the heat. So this again is a pilot and we are hoping to scale it up. Next is the pilot with Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, Purvi, we are just requesting to please conclude it.
Sure. So this is with Habitat for Humanity, where we are funding for affordable housing. Next. These are wash loans. Next. Education loans, about 50 crore plus portfolio on education loans that we are doing. Next slide, please. Yeah. So one very interesting thing that we are doing is we have just signed a MOU with a water tech company. This will essentially help us understand the water levels and help us take some credit decisions. So very interesting development happening with water tech company. In the interest of time, I will pause here. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share our initiatives.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Purvi. Do we have any question from the audience for the Purvi? We can take one question. For the rest, I just request please park in the chat box so that we can revert later.
This product is introduced to the community in addition to the livelihood program like microcredit, or is it a separate product? Or if it's a separate product, what is your experience in terms of getting recovery in addition to your microcredits?
So are you talking about any particular product? Because I shared a lot of products. So are you asking me for any particular product or you are asking me in general?
Okay.
Maybe Sunita, you can connect me with him later. I will answer his question.
Okay.
Otherwise, in general, what's your experience, Purvi? If you are
So our
not referring any
experience
product,
So our experience so far has been really very good. When you lend for a particular purpose, it always helps. Whether it is when you're funding the farmers for input, or when you're funding somebody for biodigester or for a cattle loan, the recovery has been much, much better than the other products.
thanks, Purvi. So to move forward, I just request Mr. Anirudh Mirikar, Director Self, to share your experience regarding the products which you have implemented at the ground itself. Over to you, Mr. Mirikar. So I just request you please complete the presentation within 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Sunita. We will go ahead. Just I'll give you one thing that this green finance initiative started in the villages, since we are working in only in the rural areas where people are always finding difficult, the small farmers, to get the amount in order to access funds for subsidies for sprinklers and drips. So that was the real starting point for this green finance initiative. Actually, Sampada Entrepreneurship and Livelihoods Foundation is we can go next slide. Is a Section 8 company. We are basically working for the empowering of women. We are already having regular loan products for promotion of micro enterprises, then non-farm enterprises, livestock and wash. As Ms. Purvi has already mentioned, we are also done good work in livestock. And considering this climate change and the opportunity which we found in the villages, we started financing for the green products, out of which drip and sprinkler was one of the green products, for which Sa-Dhan, then Tata Trust and GIZ has helped us a lot for providing us the technical support, and FWWB definitely for providing us the finance. Next. Objectives of this drip irrigation is, we all know that there is water conservation, then increased crop yield, improved crop quality, income diversification. The basic thing in Maharashtra, what we really have seen, the drip has really reduced the savings in labor, which is actually a problem. Then the crops which we are getting, mostly the fruit crops, they are having access to very good markets and with very good prices, since they are not affected by any type of disease and pest. Next. We all know that the benefits which we are getting from these green loans is reduction in carbon footprint, conservation of natural resources, then adaptation and mitigation to climate change impacts. Whatever impacts we are looking at are being adapted, as well as to certain extent. I will not say that they are mitigated, but we are definitely in phase of adaptation to climate change. Then the real financial benefit which farmers gets, they require a very lower operational costs. All over, if you consider, there is saving in labor, there is saving in fertilizers, there is saving in pesticides, as well as it has got means he does not has to go all the round going for different type of tillage operations. Then increased income due to quality yield. I will specifically mention one thing, that the quality of the produce which you get with sprinklers and drips is having that type of leverage in the markets also. And they get, say, +1 in comparison to the other products which they are sold. Then they have got access to new markets and they get different type of opportunities here. Basically, this started actually with the government schemes and subsidies. Maharashtra government has declared the drip with subsidy of around 75%. Here, first lot got 50% in the first phase, then 25% in the second phase for orchards. So here, actually, when they got this, but there was a major pressure on the farmers, the small farmers, whom we are working with, to deposit this amount. Unless and until they don't deposit this amount, they don't install this drip, they didn't used to get the subsidies. So that was the real a turning point for this identification of this particular product. So here subsidy around 75% in case of what we say male farmers, and female it is up to 85%. And the cost required for this thing is for the orchard crops like santra and mango, it is around 40 to 45,000, and in cotton or different type of crops like pulses and legumes, it is 28 to 40%. So these are the things which has really made this possible for identifying this product. Now, one thing I will like to mention, the drip installation in Maharashtra is much more than 50% of the total drip installation in the country. So here, farmers being coming from the areas of what we can say, the drought-prone areas, have been adopted this drip, as well as the government subsidies has also helped them. Secondly, in the last session, somebody was asking about the cost of the systems. So it actually depends upon cost per acre, or what the spacing is, or what type of system equipments you are purchasing. It may be inline drip, or it may be drippers, it may have filters. There are simple filters, or there are sand filters. Then you have a venturi wherein the fertilizers and pesticides are given directly through this drip system. So basic thing where the operational cost is reduced is the weeding cost, the labor and fertilizer application, that is reduced, and it also prevents the overlogging or that type of things which can increase the diseases and pests in the fields. Next. So these are some of the photographs which we have installed, the drip irrigation system, the sprinklers. Then 3 more products we are into this green financing. One is we are cultivating oil seeds and pulses or millets without pesticides and fertilizers, using biopesticides and fertilizers. We are financing to those farmers who are adopting this practice using without using pesticides and fertilizers. Then non-residual vegetable cultivation also we are doing. This non-residual vegetable cultivation has now it will become a hot cake after the period when we have seen COVID impacts here. So during these particular 2 years, we started this in February 2023, and now into June 24, we have till date installed 259 drip irrigation systems amounting to 9,89,000, 98,95,000 rupees loan was given. Sprinklers, it was 17 lakhs. Then for cultivation of oil seeds and pulses without any pesticides and fertilizers, we gave 73 lakhs 60,000. And for production of Jivamrut, Amrut Pani and Tashaparani, see, that is also a thing wherein the local resource is utilized here, and the production of biopesticide and biofertilizers is done itself in the villages. So the women promoting this activity are also being financed. The finance raised from say 25,000 to 50,000. They don't take much more than that, and we also don't give them, considering the viability of the project. FWWB has given us loan at a subsidized rate. It was 10%, and we are lending at 20%. So we are really thankful to them also, and as well as we really thank Sa-Dhan, GIZ and Tata Trust for their support, as well as for hand-holding which they are providing from the last year. I am thankful to all of you from SELF for providing me this opportunity to present my work which we are doing. We are a very small organization, but we are doing something different. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Meriker. Do we have any question from the audience for Mr. Meriker? Okay, fine. So just moving to the next agenda, because we have listened about various technologies and the views from the experts. We have already tried this product at the ground itself. Now the main question comes from the MFI's partners, from where we can get the finance opportunity to implement these kind of product at the ground to serve to the last mile agent. So for that, I just request Mr. Abhishek Gupta, MD and CEO from the Caspian Debt, for the launch of credit for this product. Over to you, Mr. Abhishek.
Thank you, Sunit, and a pleasure to meet all of you here. Good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining this event. Caspian Debt is a provider of debt financing to small and medium-sized financial institutions and startups operating in sectors like food and agriculture, clean tech, and similar such sectors. As an organization, we believe that climate change is real and poses a significant risk to everybody. Hence, for Caspian Debt as an impact finance institution, financing initiatives that accelerate the adoption of climate mitigation and climate adaptation solutions has always been a very core of our focus. We've been lenders to sustainable agriculture startups for over 10 years now and to climate technology startups for over 7 years. We've, of course, also been financing microfinance institutions for close to 2 decades now. We're the first Indian NBFC signatory to the Partnership for Carbon Accounting Financials and have made commitments to measure carbon emissions of our portfolio, because all of this goes into us being able to figure out the climate-related risks better. When we started lending to food and agriculture companies in 2013-14, sustainable agriculture was a core focus. The first few companies that we financed included organic agriculture companies, companies supplying solar-powered irrigation pumps, and companies supplying eco-friendly inputs. So a lot of the types of products that you have been seeing in the earlier part of the event today. I think we are possibly the largest, or we would have funded the largest number of sustainable food and agri startups in India over the past few years. However, we always felt that the measures taken towards, climate resilience were not being adopted at the required pace, especially at the grassroots. In our view, there were 2 key reasons behind this. One is lack of awareness and access, and maybe even lack of trust to of high quality technological innovations that actually enable farmers to adopt sustainable practices. So if farmers don't know about the technologies, if the farmers don't trust the technologies, and if the farmers don't get access to the high quality technologies, how will the adoption happen? The second issue that we felt was there was this lack of financing available for farmers towards adoption of such technologies. Now, it's very easy to identify these problems. You will find such identification in many white papers, strategy papers, and so on. But the real world is much more chaotic. All of you know that very well. Now, implementation of something of this sort, where we can enable financing for adoption of climate resilience measures at the farmer level, is not possible unless several people from different walks of life, whether it is financial institutions, whether it is the technology providers, whether it is people who can vet the quality of the technology, all of them have to come together. What Sustain Plus, GIZ, and Sa-Dhan has made possible in the last couple of years through the program that they have had running is the exact solution to the above problems that I just mentioned, the problem of lack of awareness, trust, access, and lack of financing. Now, we realized, and during the several conversations that we have had with the GIZ team, Sandeep and others, we realized that this question was coming back again and again from a lot of the financial institutions, microfinance institutions that are actually working on the ground financing farmers. Where do we get access to credit that that enables us to kind of accelerate adoption of these products? We believe that that's a good sign. And we also believe that the financial institutions shouldn't just do this for, because it is a good thing to do, but more than that, by actually accelerating adoption of these products, they will benefit from a business and risk perspective as well, because it improves the climate resilience of their customer segment. We as Caspian Debt and as a wholesale financier to microfinance institutions, NBFCs, and even startups, are interested in offering product structures that make it easier for microfinance institutions to offer these kind of loans. Based on our current understanding of needs, we have designed the structure of the product, which we are keen to. Basically, we have an initial structure, and starting from that, we are keen to learn and improve over time. My colleague Sai Pramod, will talk about it in a bit, but I know the first question that is going to come up to us is, what is the cost of financing? So the straightforward answer is that the cost of financing of this, as of now, will be similar to what each financial institution already gets today. It's not going to be any different. However, we are in discussions with several global sustainability-focused investors and financial institutions who are interested in providing dedicated financing lines for these kind of initiatives. And unfortunately, today the scale is not as large to enable access to these kind of financing lines. If we do manage to get access to these kind of high quality financing lines, the cost, the structures may be way more flexible than what we are able to provide today. But today the scale doesn't exist. So instead of waiting for the scale to be built, what we are trying to do as Caspian Debt is we are trying to speed up the creation of this scale by financing from within whatever financing means we have today. And the structure of the product is kind of designed to make it be easier for MFIs to originate these kind of loans much better. But over time, it is expected that we will learn, we'll get, improve the product structure, we will improve the sources through which we, are able to channel funding from much larger and, better kind of structures from other larger financial institutions. So I would request my colleague Sai Pramod, who leads our business, to talk about the products that we would have on offer going forward. Pramod.
Sure. Thanks, Abhishek, and thanks everyone for staying up, till the end of the session to hear us about the product offering that we have as well. And like Abhishek mentioned, idea is to first make it more accessible so that the scale is built. And this specific line of credit is for all the microfinance institutions which are going to fund their end users for the different technological products which has been discussed by Ayan from Sustain Plus and Kritika from GIZ as well, where the operational risk related to that products are taken with respect to vetting of those technological products, and it is known that it works. So one segment of the product working in itself with respect to operational risk is taken care of, and that is the line of credit that is being made available. We understand that this is a segment which is probably not as part of your business as usual, so you would have to put your effort to find customers who would use this as well, and for that specific reason it is very much possible that you would need some sort of moratorium period once you know that you have secured a line of funding as well. And that's where we are open to exploring options of moratorium for the microfinance institutions which are funding these climate resilient products in itself, which is typically not the case with most other general IGL loans. This in one way is also an IGL loan, but it is mostly for a specific end use as well. And speaking of end use, we also understand that there is typically end use utilization certificate which the microfinance institutions would need to provide to each of its lender, knowing that the funds have gone for the specific purpose. Again, identifying the customer is one bit for which the moratorium is being offered, but at the same time as a combination of both moratorium and finally deploying the funds, there would be some extended timeline provided for end use as well. And typically, again, the tenors, as we could see from the different presentation, the payback periods are very different from 6 months to probably 12 to even 36 months. So depending on the kind of product portfolio which the microfinance institutions are building, we would customize the tenor after discussing on that as well. And finally, we understand that it's not something where the portfolio which would originate out of this would be extremely significant with respect to your existing pool of portfolio. So smaller lines of credit for as low as 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs may be a requirement, and the MFIs could tap into this line of credit as and when they would need, and where the other criteria with respect to the end use and moratorium etc would be provided as well. So the idea is that we understand the product building pipeline will take time. So with smaller limits also, the microfinance institutions can try funding their end customers, and as the utilization of it is also done, we would be keen to increase the overall size of the credit line as well. But essentially what we are taking back from the entire discussion is that even as financial institutions, we are keen to support with respect to by different means of product customizations, which may not be typical to most of your borrowings from other banks or NBFCs as well. So that's what I wanted to tell and end on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sai, for the details about the product. So here because our next agenda is the question answer round. So I just want to hear from our audience if we have any specific question from the Caspian team. So definitely we can raise our hand and can ask from them, because definitely it's a line of credit which will help us to just move forward with the technology which the Ayan and the Kritika showcased about that. So it's an open house discussion. I just request from our participants to please come forward.
I have a question from Bauda. Now we have seen a large number of agricultural families, and as previous gentleman has said, unless demo aspect as well as your service support is available, we cannot easily launch the product as far as the farmers are concerned in our area. And secondly, the agricultural families where they want to go for a solar panel installations, would there be any scope from Mr. Avish Gupta, but there will be any chance for funding the solar installation to the agricultural families where they are living in?
Thank you for the question. I think the first question has already been discussed and answered. But I think the response from Ayan and the GIZ team was that in some limited cases, demonstrations could be facilitated. But I think you will need to check with them. And if you do form a part of the program, we can figure it out at that point of time. On the second point, that's what so we are not going to directly finance the solar panels. It is the financial institution, that is going to finance the solar panels. We are going to be essentially the refinancers of that. And the reason why we are going to finance you is so that you can use our loan for on-lending purposes towards financing of the solar panels or the relevant products that are within or that has been vetted as a part of this initiative. So you would have seen several products that both Ayan and Kritika talk about. The idea is that these products are vetted and they seem to be working well. So the chances or concerns around their, how well they work and all is taken care of, and hence we would like to fund. I mean, for the MFIs also, it is a lower risk comparatively, and there are some arrangements that have been made through tripartite, kind of arrangements in some of the cases, like Kritika was saying. So similar arrangements could be thought of as we expand. But the idea is such. The idea is that our line of credit is meant to finance loans made to these kind of equipments.
Thank you.
Time period, I mean, for the loan. Abhishek, what would be the time? What would be the time? I mean, what do you call the duration of the loan period?
So again, so I think we can do anywhere between 18 months to 36 months, sometimes even slightly more than that as well. But it will depend on the underlying product, the payback period, because there are some, if you notice earlier during the presentation, for example, Puri was talking about some products which had a 6-month period, and there were some products that Ayan was discussing, or I think Kritika was discussing, that were about 36 months. So it will be depending on the type of underlying product, and we can see at the end of the day, the product tenure is going to be decided by the MFI that is going to finance the product directly. And hence, what kind of refinance is needed is going to be then based on that decided by us. We will, I mean, the way we would refinance is make sure that it is coterminous, or it kind of takes into consideration the underlying loan tenor. So that's how it is going to get decided.
And whether the repayment is a bullet payment, or is it some yearly?
So there would be, yes. So it's not a bullet repayment product as of now. What we understand is that the deployment of the assets initially will might take some time. So what we have thought of as a structure is that we will offer an initial moratorium after the drawdown for the assets to be built up. So for that period, there will not be any principal repayment, but after that, the principal repayment start and will typically be, the repayment of our loan will be matched to the repayment cycle of the underlying loans, typically.
It's mostly monthly, EMI.
Mostly monthly.
So Abhishek, we got one question. Who will be the spokesperson from your side if anyone wants to contact you or the Caspian team, whom they can reach?
Sure. So you can reach out to Pramod, and we, through, I mean, we can share email IDs, and you can reach out to Pramod. He'll allocate the right person for this. But Pramod is the point of contact for this program.
So Pramod, I request you just to drop your contact details with the email ID in the chat box so that the participant can get your details. So do we have any other question from our audience?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. This is Manoj from Worthridge, and this is specifically for Mr. Gigi Menon, sharing my perspective. Mr. Menon, sir, this is something which probably is getting discussed around the world, not only with the MFI industry, and with city like Cape Town running out of water. I'm sure the issue is much larger than what people might be looking at as of now. While there were some communications and thoughts which came out during this webinar that, we are looking at this as a separate product or a separate technology to address the climate change. One thing about Sa-Dhan, which I have seen, which makes it different from any other MFIs, probably in the India and the world, is that we are looking at the holistic way of addressing the impact financing, and not just, a last mile credit delivery institution, which probably works for most of the MFIs, where they just, deliver the credit and look at the returns which we come in. So we at Worthridge, is what I wanted to share to Mr. Gigi Menon, look at credit as an instrument for addressing not only just the credit need of the person, the MFI person, but also the ecosystem around which he works, especially in the rural area. It could be the soil, it could be his water issue, it could be his fertilizer issue, it could be his livestock issue, or it could be his alternate livelihood issue. Now, we all know, in fact, it's a well-known fact that, 98% of our farmers are marginal farmers. Mean they have probably, less than a hectare kind of agriculture land to make their livelihood on. And while these products are really, innovative and they are going to help them in addressing climate change, which impacts them the most. But most of them, that is my personal, experience in this, though I'm very new to this field, they are not very appreciative of these technologies because they themselves have not strong sustainable livelihood to venture into these areas. And then they take the risk of, okay, let the monsoon come, I'll see whatever happens. If I get my crop, well and good. If I don't get, it's God decision. So what we also intend to do over a period of time is to create the credit product as an integral product which takes into account all these ecosystems around the farmer or the low income group, what we call, because unless they are financially sustainable, they will not able to appreciate these products which are available to the farmers. And once they are sustainable, they get better results. Then they venture into it, they get much better results. The traction within these communities become much more, and the adoption becomes very, very positive for the industry as a whole. So while looking at this climate change, just to give an example, if I'm not taking much time, even a small product like a micro enterprise product. Suppose a household has a farmer, his wife, and his son. Now, the father is working on the fields for the agriculture. The son may take up some micro enterprise, get another revenue of stream, gets employed. So you are addressing at the employment also, you are working at the sustainability of income also, and you are creating a net zero economic unit. While industries in the cities might give employments, but they also have a impact which was seen in the summers of Delhi, and the monsoons of Bombay will probably see some of it very soon. So my take on this whole thing is that this is something which is, the climate change is integral to the MFI industry. It is not to be treated as something as a separate vertical, that I have a MFI product and I have a climate change effect. So my product is so integrated that it addresses the probably what Purvi also showed, the matter of maybe the education, health, water conservation. So it has to work holistically for this community for it to
I think you have both well taken. I think you have said it rightly. I just want a question to you. Are you a retail lender institution or a wholesale lender institution?
Retail, sir, retail.
So you have a microfinance institution. I heard it as Godrej. Is it correct?
Yeah. We are working in Maharashtra, sir.
Okay. I think we'll catch up separately and we'll have something, some discussion on the sidelines separately. Okay.
Right, sir. Right.
Thank you for your.
Okay, thank you, sir. So looking at the time constraint, we have already received few questions in our chat box. So we forward all these questions to our speakers to get the reply.
Is there anything important?
No. So for moving towards the closure of the event, we are looking for the closing remarks from the Department of Climate Action and Sustainability. So as we are expecting Ms. Suparna Tandon from this side, so do we have Suparna ma'am? Do you have, or we have someone else from the department of the NABARD?
Yeah, good evening. I'm Sukant Sahu, working as a Deputy General Manager. Unfortunately, Suparna ma'am got a call from senior management. She had to attend to that call. So thanks. Good evening again to all. Yeah, I can see Jiji ma'am and sir. Namaste, sir. So thanks to congratulations to the organizers for having so beautiful a presentation and dialogue. Everything starts from having a dialogue that only leads to further communications or exploring how to go about. I believe this is one of the initiatives taken by GIZ on recovery, besides other programs where attempt is made to have a dialogue among the different client or stakeholders. Starts from its technology providers, financiers, and the policymakers. And today's topic is climate resilient agriculture. Of course, we covered beyond that also. That is allied activities also. So, and how we can go for a line of credit. So we are looking at sector as such as the climate resilient agriculture and the finance part. Here, I have the opportunity, rather privilege, to represent NABARD, which is known to be the apex DFI in the sector agriculture and rural development, and agriculture being the one of the most vulnerable sector to climate change. It becomes all the more important to share what we have been doing and what is in our plan of things, and I'll try to connect with the today's deliberations, which has got good number of questions and interactions, what I say. Way back, we started from NRM activities like watershed development activities. Now it is beyond 25 lakh hectares. We have touched more than 6 lakh farmers under tribal development fund, where it is primarily centered around agri forestry. And these two programs, these are flagship programs, and they cater to a lot of elements of climate risk. Through RID, Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, we have been supporting infrastructure that has a good component of climate resilient infrastructure, be it solar PV system, be it micro irrigation. So it helps the agriculture and the climate risk. We have got facilitated more than 1,900 crore under special climate action projects, 40 projects we have under Green Climate Fund, Adaptation Fund, and NFCC. We are the direct access entity to this year. We have the opportunity to be with the farmers through our district level units and have our interface with different levels and get a good feel of the sector, which I would like to share with you. Recently, we have got one green taxonomy. Of course, it is for internal purpose. But basically, we are trying to see how we can tag our products as green and how much we can go toward green finance. Also, we are trying to give special refinance for specific products which has a green element that will soon be coming. We have got a climate change fund, and we have got from good amount, more than 100 crore, which will be catalyzing our climate finance initiatives besides supporting measures. Now there is renewed focus from our end. We understand the sector, especially adaptation sector, and that to agriculture and allied aid. Here you have a lot of challenges which we are discussing. We have been discussing, and some of these I would like to highlight here also. How to circumvent. We have got partnership with ADB. We are also talking to World Bank how to get something like a low-cost finance, which will make the product viable while considering the climate risk. We are looking for a blended finance product. We are designing. We are looking for different financial instruments like credit guarantee. Definitely, this will help in pushing the finance to green sector. especially for this agriculture, natural resources, and rural development sector. Different climate resilient climate finance products also we are working on, shortly will be coming. That will be helping the sector. This includes like solar pumping units. We had solar as part of the way we did it, the KVK Udua 110 kV PV system, which helps also agriculture plus solar power. Solar Atachaki, climate resilient agri, CGB, like that we are working and on coming out with different financial products and pitch it to bankers and other financing institutions so that the climate finance goes up. Now, today we came across different technology products. It was very inspiring to see how agencies like the Sustain Plus or Pahal or like they are selected or rather they are promoted different technologies. We these are presented as low cost, high value units. There has been market coverage, but is it adequate? Surely no. There are challenges, immense challenges to put it at to scale up. In this context, I like to flag who are the stakeholders. One side there is a farmer, then there is a financer. Within that space, we have got a service or technology provider. Now, when you see the climate resilient agriculture, a lot of climate risks are involved. Besides the farmers being resource poor, there is issue with the access to credit, what we are discussing today, forgetting about quality of credit and all of the instrument. Lot of gaps in awareness, our extension services, we need to gear up. The farmer doesn't have the access to technology or the right technology. There is this issue with the entrepreneurship, because we see now the farmers go beyond the farming and go for industry model or go for collectivization through farmers producer organization or alike. There is above all there is climate change, there are extreme weather events, and above all there is one external element, that is the market. So when you see the production booming, then their income gets affected because of price downfall. So we need to have end-to-end solution where different products can be chipped in, be it production system or the product or the crop management system, post-harvest or marketing. Here we need to see how credit can help in putting the product or making the available the technology and other components to the farmer, maybe as discrete product or maybe as a value chain finance. So financer has a big role to pitch in this sphere. Now, what could be the challenges to the financer? If a financer gives credit, not only credit risk, personal risk, or liquidity risk has, it also climate change impact on the loan portfolio is becoming more and more. It can be at regional level, it can be sectoral risk, it can be inherent to the community or the beneficiary who is being financed to. Financer needs to have low cost of funding, rather mobilizing adequate capital. There should be good funding mechanism. Even if you have seen when we raise the green bonds or sustainable bonds, there is not much greenium or the premium, but we get an advantage because our regulatory space or the market is not that mature to give a concessional funding. Even if we get 2 to 3% international funding, the hedging cost comes so much that the lending cost goes 8 or 8 plus. So challenge is that how to make the product blended in such a that the financer gets at a lesser rate and is able to put it across. And definitely we have got a lot of technology and products in place. On the other side, when we are extending credit, there should be absorption capacity. The barriers to financial inclusion that should be addressed to, like we have been doing through our Bankers Institute of Rural Development and our Center for Climate Change and different agencies. We are putting across green literacy. We are increasing the capacity building. So it has to go hand in hand: capacity building, extending credit, increasing absorption capacity, right technology selection, then designing the product such that the viability is assured. Like we have got in Mandla, in MP, we have got FPCs for millets. And we find that in the value chain of millet processing, the millet processing is viable. Now, the farmer or the entrepreneur who is in processing or the FPO, they may be getting an advantage. But if a farmer is part of a farmer producer organization, so along the value chain, start from crop production to processing, somewhere wherever there is a proposition for discovering income value, the farmer will be getting benefit. Once the farmer gets benefit, credit outflow, technology selection, or for that matter, the comfort to the technology provider, it becomes all the more easy. So it is our responsibility and the market opportunity also to pitch in at different levels of finance or technology, or for that matter in policy landscape also, where climate resilient agriculture can be, and the allied sector can be addressed, the challenges can be addressed, and we can bring can make the agriculture more sustainable. So we see a dialogue of this kind as the prime mover towards this goal. We're happy to learn that to see that a lot of active engagement was there among the participants. We'll be looking forward to fruitful discussions and action points and takeaways, and we love to be associated with our partners or you all in our endeavor for bringing climate resilience to the farmer and the farming at large. With these few words, I will again thank the organizers, and I will like to take questions if part of it is there. I thank you again.
One request from my side is that, can you think of, because since NABARD has been working in this climate change initiatives, can you think of creating a separate line of credit for the climate resilient activities for microfinance institutions?
We see microfinance institutions as a little bit with a lot of high personality. The narrow bandwidth what we have in other institutions is not there with microfinance, where there is an opportunity to partner. So that is first and foremost. Coming to climate resilient agriculture, Government of India is coming out with policy guidelines. We are also, as NABARD is also a member, so we are looking for that policy guideline. And if at all, of course, state level, like Andhra Pradesh, there is zero budget natural farming and all the initiatives are there. Still, we will be looking forward to CRA. Definitely, we are supporting such initiatives towards climate resilient agriculture through our project mode. Like we have got a climate change fund, which looks to small to medium sized projects that we would like to have. As far as lending is concerned, we are trying to come up with, to start with, a little special refinance package. It is through the bank's refinance package for select products. I will not be able to commit on CRA, climate resilient agriculture.
Separate line of credit which will dedicated for this kind of funding. I think that would be useful. But you yourself had talked about that blended financing and all, you know. So when you get some, so that makes it easier for the MFIs to lend, and for the borrowers also make it easy to borrow money on that for that activities. Okay, thank you. So I think
like Government of India's efforts to standardize or the coming with the personal guidelines will help us to define What is a climate resilient agriculture? We need to have MRV in place. We need to have system in place where we can say for sure, say that this is a climate resilient agriculture. And if you can tag with carbon market, then it becomes also third party monitoring, and that way it gets assured. And definitely it makes sense. Suppose we can have a different financing instrument for climate resilient agriculture, especially if we can go for a little blending through our funding, that is possible. But my hunch is that agriculture, a big, large area, and climate resilient agriculture is a still large vast basket. For Nabard's kitty, I'm afraid whether we can able to do. We need to, maybe we have to look forward to policy intervention from government side. We can very well see what is the risk. We are trying to assess the risk part, climate risk part in agriculture. We are trying to assess the reassess the cost with regard to climate resilient agriculture. If we can go for like economic side and how the policy level support could be there, it makes a good support to government.
Thank you. Thank you.
We
Thank you,
will be
sir.
continuing supporting through project mode. Refinance, it depends, because we are also borrowing from market. We are trying to see how best we can make it attractive. So it will be one-to-one. We can very well go for. At large, let us see. I will not be able to. I have not the authority to comment on it.
It's only for your consideration. So I think we'll, because of the time shortage of time, we'll.
Yeah, we flag it for.
Mr. Sahu, for your information about the line of credit and other line items also, definitely we will connect with you to get the more details about these offerings. So before to conclude this program, I just request Mr. Memon to just give the vote of thanks to our audience.
In fact, let me thank each one of you, especially my the partners who have been who are joined together for this initiative. That is Caspian, Sustain Plus, and the GIZ along with Sa-Dhan. And in fact, I was really benefited by this session, this 1.5 hour session. I'm sure each one of you must have been benefited, hearing from the supporters of climate resilient agriculture like GIZ, Sustain Plus, and Caspian, and also from practitioners like Purvi Pahel and from Verikar from Sampada. So basically, as it was already told by everyone, India is facing a great challenge. It's one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. Around 50% of the country is climate vulnerable. And again, if you see that climate risk index is also India is one of the highly risk area. It's the 7th in the global index. So we have to take definitely steps to ensure that we do sufficiently to avoid any kind of climate disasters. So whatever financing we do, it has to be in that prism only. As Mr. Rohan Singh said, it is not that you have a separate climate resilient products and normal products. Or whatever we lend, it should be within that climate resilient prism, then things would be much better. So thank you so much, and I am really thankful to each one of you for your patient hearing and being with even till the end of the program. And I'm sure we will be able to take it forward with more vigor and enthusiasm. Thank you, and thank you by our partners Caspian, Sustain Plus, and GIS. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.